This week, we're hearing from advocates on various issues to find out what they're looking for from the state legislature in this upcoming session. We heard from advocates for children's issues last night, and tonight we speak with business leaders. And joining us is Danny Seiden, President and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Todd Sanders, President and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Chamber. Todd, good to have you here.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Ted.
Yeah, Danny, good to have. Danny, we'll start with you. We do these all week, and a lot of folks, the business guys, you guys really have had a pretty good run here, have you not?
We have. Arizona is doing very well, and I'll be honest, Ted, I'm hoping for more of the same this session. We're hoping that the legislature and the governor reflect the priorities that we've been advocating for the past decade. You're seeing announcement after announcement. Another big one yesterday, going to ASU in the state in terms of getting an advanced research and development facility, which is a big deal for us in advanced packaging. That'll lead to more jobs and more economic wins. So yeah, we're expecting to see more of the same going forward.
Any different outlook, Todd, this year than at this time last year?
Well, I think there's definitely a much clearer road. For instance, one of the things last year for us was the imperative of having a transportation plan that was funded. Prop 479, that got through the legislature and the voters approved it, which is a really big deal for companies like the TSMCs of the world that are coming here and they need that infrastructure. So I think we have some more clarity, but certainly some things that we're looking at, like Prop 123, the continuation of that important funding source for education.
Is that, where does that stand? What do you think? What are you seeing?
Well, Todd and myself, we've been in several conversations with both legislative leadership and the governor's office. There will be a plan pushed forward to extend Prop 123. I think it will look very different than the last 10 years. It seems that there's a lot of passion from the legislature making sure that teachers get the bulk share of that money. They want to see Arizona go up that list on what teachers get paid on average. So a lot of credit to Representative Matt Gress and Senator J.D. Mesnar for that. But also Governor Hobbs seems committed to getting something done as well. So I think our members would be eager to support putting billions of dollars into K through 12 education without raising taxes.
But I think, to Danny's earlier point about why things are so good, it's because there was an intentional effort years ago under Governor Brewer, Governor Ducey, to say, let's make sure that we're planning for the future. And so when we're thinking about education, the boom and bust cycles really have an impact. So all of these companies that are coming here, their one big issue that they're having is workforce. And there is an absolute link between workforce and education. So we've got to make sure that that funding is there so that we can continue to grow our state.
Sticking with you, ESAs. Obviously, with the Republican-controlled legislature, we're not going to see too much happening there. Should something happen, even the slightest thing as far as a guardrail is concerned?
Well, and I think they looked at that last year. I mean, the governor was on board with that. So I think we need to continue to look at it, watch the numbers. It's easy to see extreme examples, and we see that in a lot of parts of government. But to really understand, all right, what are the main things that are happening here, and are there some adjustments that need to be made? I think people are open to that.
Are they hurting public schools, Danny?
We always advocate that competition is a good thing, and what it really is about is choice. Parents are choosing to send their kids to private schools. They're choosing, we're talking tens of thousands of parents now, sending their kids to private school. So I wouldn't say it's hurting. The hope is we need thriving K through 12 education system, which is why Todd's group and my group fight so hard for things like Prop 123. But to say that they're hurting it, I don't think there's evidence of that yet. I think there's ways you could be more efficient with it, and there's ways that more people could have access to it, because that money doesn't make a difference for some families to be able to send their kid to private school. So there'll be a lot of conversations around ESAs.
And I think to that point, we're embedded now in 21 high schools in Maricopa County. We actually have my team embedded in these schools, going to go to 27. And I think when we think about long-term pain to the education system, it goes back to this 1, 2, 3, those dollars going away, and then we have that boom and bust. We've got to continue to focus on spending in the right way with education, not putting cliffs in front of them. And to Danny's point earlier, think about the investments that we made at ASU that are now paying off one of 3 of these CHIPS labs in the country, that it's going to be billions of dollars for our economy. So that's what we need to be thinking about.
And I have to jump on that. Talking about things we want to see this session, we want to see some funding for our universities.
Yes.
For if you're a Republican legislature, if you're a Democrat legislature, you should do the ROI analysis. What's my return on investment for every dollar I'm putting out there? The universities are returning big for us. With this ASU win yesterday, that's billions of dollars in new money coming in.
Is that the kind of thing, Danny, that would have to maybe wait until you get a budget surplus, A, and B? I'm hearing maybe 2026 we might be in what's going on there?
Yeah, no. So first of all, it's never too soon to do some long-term planning, Ted. We got where we are. We talked about this last year with the ACA expansion. We did that at a time of economic duress, and it paid off. Same thing for our universities right now. They're centers of economic stimulus, and it's really important that we fund them. So right now we are looking at, we wouldn't call it a surplus, but the revenues that are coming in are a lot higher than some people expected. But it's what's called one-time money.
Explain that.
Yeah, so one-time money, is very difficult to budget for sometimes. You can fund a one project or individuals, but it's not ongoing. This money is here right now in 2024. It might not be there in 25 or 26. So you have to be very careful. I'm sorry, in 25, 26, 27, you have to be very careful with how you budget for it. So ongoing is much better, but those revenues are coming in higher, and we should be smart. We should spend on things like universities. We should reinvest in our energy infrastructure, which is a huge win for us. We haven't talked about that enough. There's going to be a lot of bills that we're fighting for down at the session, things like securitization, allowing utilities to use their assets to fund growth in a way that doesn't raise ratepayers' money. So there's a lot of good and exciting priorities coming.
What about taxes, Todd? What more does the business community want as far as taxes are concerned?
Well, I think one of the things that they're looking for is certainty, and I think along those lines, one of the biggest issues that we see out there is sort of it's a hidden tax, mandates on business, which are absolutely devastating for business. And you might be sitting there at home thinking, well, what's a mandate or two to a multi-million-dollar business or a multi-billion-dollar business? Well, Arizona's a small business state. That means that these are small businesses that are impacted by these mandates across the board. So, what am I going to look at in terms of hiring? Can I keep people on board? Can I keep my doors open? That's a big concern. So we're thinking about sort of mandates and taxes to business. That is one of the areas that we're really concerned about.
The flat tax, do you consider that a success? Because we have a lot of people on this program that come on and say the thing is killing the budget. What do you say?
Well, I think we've just talked about the fact that we're seeing revenues increase now, right? We saw a flattening of revenues. Those are starting to come back. We're looking at a possible surplus in 26. So I do think that the numbers bear that out.
Yeah, I just have to jump in on that. I mean, we were some of the prime advocates for the 2.5% flat tax, lowest in the country. It is most definitely a success. It has led to business growth. It has led to people choosing to come to Arizona and stay here. And as Todd pointed out, our revenues are coming back in. And for the record, that flat tax had to be triggered by economic conditions that warranted it. And it was triggered immediately because of how good our economy is doing.
Last question, and real quickly, because we got to get going here, but water. Give me a real quick wish list. What do you need? What do you want to see?
For water, just want to see, first of all, a recognition of what the problem really is. This is a very solvable issue for us. We use less water now than we did in 1952. So we know that we can solve it. So I think we just have to work together, not get in the blame game of residential pointing at manufacturing or so forth. This is something we can solve together. And it's, again, water's not going to hold Arizona back.
How much
for a state.
And last point, sorry to interrupt here, but last point, state legislature. How much can the state legislature do when so much COP, the whole CAP controversy is fed this, fed that?
Right. I think the legislature is really key into this. To Danny's point, there's not one entity that can really solve this. It has to be the legislature, the governor, the feds, and CAP working together to solve it. It is solvable. He's right. And we are using less water today than we did 50 years ago. That's an important point. We're going to continue to grow.
Great conversation, guys. Always good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.